Alright, Shalom. This is your brother Nahali from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Mukakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, or the elders of Yasha Allah, and a sincere salutation to all you Akim who are preaching this word and believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Right now, this is Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 17, and it reads, "Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend." All right, now I want to go into the Hebrew first. Now I want to get sharpeneth. All right, and sharpeneth is kadad, and it says to be sharp, to be alert, to be keen. Strong's definition, to be, to causatively make, sharp, or figuratively severe. Be fierce, sharpen, all right? And I had a conversation with a brother yesterday, and we both came to the conclusion that when you talk about iron sharpening iron, that's not a pretty sight, all right? That's not something that you can liken unto a spa or a relaxing moment, all right? When you're talking about iron sharpening iron, you start thinking about blacksmiths, guys with aprons, dirty aprons, sweaty with coal on their face, all right? Sparks flying from sharpening these instruments, an iron hammer or iron mallet to sharpen a hot iron that just came out of the fire. All of these things are not peaceful, so to speak. And the reason I say that is because as we, all us brothers, when we came into this truth, Salakia for moving the camera around so much, all of us brothers, when we came into this truth, we all came with a certain level of baggage. Every brother according to his own measure, all right? And with that baggage, it has to be unpacked. And we have to unpack that as a unit, which is why iron sharpeneth iron, all right? The Lord gave us this brotherhood, and this brotherhood is a resource. And that resource, Salakia, and that resource is utilized to build your faith and to sharpen you, meaning that you're going to have conversations that aren't going to be all pleasant, so to speak. You're going to have heated discussions. You're not going to see eye to eye all the time. You know, you're not going to come to an agreement all the time. You're going to offend, and brothers are going to offend you. And conversations are going to need to be had and made, all right? And all of that is a process of us being refined, okay? Because when you think about it, we come from a community that really doesn't deal with communication very well, all right? We coming from broken homes, you know, we coming from these situations that we lived in amongst our people, you know, in these in the hoods, in the ghettos, whatever you call it, and there's no real communication, and our people really don't know how to deal with each other man to man, all right? Now, when we come into this truth, we have to learn how to do that, all right? And the Lord is teaching us how to do that through the brotherhood, which is why I said in the beginning, this brotherhood is a resource, man. It's a way that the Lord is using us, the Lord is using this resource and this fellowship to refine us, all right? That's why brothers say when you get into this truth, you don't really, that's when when you come into a camp, when you come into a fold, that's when you really start to understand what this truth is all about. Because now you have to deal with brothers that are like-minded, all right? And you have to unpack your baggage. And we're all unpacking our baggage, all right? And like I said before, it's not an easy thing. It's not always an easy conversation, but it has to be had, all right? Because iron has to sharpen iron. You can't not sharpen the sword because you don't want to be too loud, all right? In order for you to have a good sword, you have to give it your all. And that means that it's going to be loud, it's going to be violent. You may burn yourself in the process, but it's all necessary. You know, you got to realize something as well, and I'm starting to realize that more and more every day, that you're around some of the greatest spirits that the Lord has ever created. Whether you can receive that right now or not, you're around some of the greatest spirits the Lord has ever made. Some of the greatest men that the Lord has ever made are amongst you right now. And our flesh a lot of times gets in the way of that, which is why the Lord puts us through this refining process. But you're around and you're amongst some of the greatest spirits that the Lord has ever made. Lord willing, we endure to the end, and we be of that number. But if you're in this body, if you're in the body of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and that means either you or the brothers you're around are some of the greatest spirits ever created. And a part of you being in this is like SEAL Team 6. When you think about the military, when they have high special officers like Rangers, Navy SEALs, their training is a lot different from the basic training, all right? And you don't stand out, so to speak, meaning that you're not exceptional compared to the rest of your brethren around you, because y'all all are elite. All of you are elite in a SEAL Team 6, for example, or in the Rangers, the Army Rangers. When all of you get called into that fold and you get trained up, all of y'all are exceptional. Likewise, us in this truth, man. The majority of the brothers that come into this truth, man, are exceptional. All the brothers that come into this are exceptional, So you got to understand that you're going to have tough conversations, because we have to unpack our baggage, man. That's a part of the old man being killed. So I do want to get another precept, but I do want to go into this through the spirit, just because, once again, you're amongst some of the greatest spirits the Lord has created. You're amongst the brothers that the Lord has given the highest office on the planet Earth. All right? And that's to labor for this truth. That's to be a spokesperson for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Whether you're a speaker or a reader or somebody who holds the signs or a help, you've been given the greatest office on the planet. And you're around some of the greatest spirits that have ever been created, all making that journey back to that original estate. We're all making that journey back to our original estate. And a part of that means that we have to go through certain trials and tribulations. And that's on our personal journey as well as amongst this brotherhood, all right? And that's all a part of iron sharpening iron, all right? I want to get another precept. Matter of fact, I might have to go to my other app. Right, let me get this real quick. So this is John chapter 15, and I'll start at 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. All right? And the reason I want to stop right there is because the Lord said that this commandment is that we love him, we love each other as he loved us, all right? When the Lord was on the scene, he was dealing with publicans, sinners. When he was talking to the disciples, a lot of times the parables went over their head. But the Lord did what? He suffered that. And he still supped with patience. Now we have to do that. We have to do the same thing amongst each other, all right? We have to come to that understanding that you're around great spirits that are trapped in flesh. And that we're all unpacking our baggage as we move closer and closer to the kingdom. And whenever you get weary, remember this, man. Yahweh shall lay down his life for this. That we may love each other as he has loved us, man. Because he loved us enough to lay down his life. Matter of fact, I'm going to get John 13. And this is beautiful. Man, there's so much meat on this. I want to start up, bro. Right. So this is John chapter 13, verse 13. Ye call me master and Lord, and ye say, well, for so I am. All right. Yahweh Shah is making it known that he is the Lord. He is the only begotten son, that the Messiah, Shiloh. All right. Verse 14, if I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, ye also ought to wash one another's feet. And that's verse 15, for I have given you an example that ye should do as I have done to you. And what was Yahushua? He was a servant unto his disciples, man. In that moment when he was washing the feet of Peter, man. And you can only imagine how Peter felt, man. How humbling that would be, you know, for the Lord. We're talking about Yahushua. We're talking about Shiloh. Until Shiloh come, we're talking about the star out of Jacob. I wouldn't want the Lord nowhere near my feet. And you can only imagine how Peter was feeling. I mean, Salakia, how Peter was feeling when that happened. But Yahushua did that for an example for us to do the same thing. That means that same love, that same patience that Yahushua showed us, we got to show our brethren, all right? So I'm not gonna be too long-winded. I wanted to end it on this. All right, verse 34. All right, and it reads, "A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another." And when you think about Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, this kind of love is not seen in our community, all right? And that's why it's going to separate us from our community. This kind of love, and that love is not always hugs and kisses and smiles. Sometimes it's fierce and intense conversations about brothers unpacking their baggage. And those conversations are necessary because you're going to learn something from it, and that brother's going to learn something from it. And you both are going to be sharpened by that conversation and that experience, all right? And that's why the Lord has created this brotherhood and set this brotherhood up to prepare us, man. You know, so I don't want to be too long-winded. You know, I don't want to rant, you know, but this was on my spirit because, you know, as I continue in this truth, I'm starting to understand more and more the gravity of the sacrifice that Yahushua made when he sent Yahushua on the planet. And the things that Yahushua said, they mean more. They mean a lot more when you're going through it in the brotherhood or in your life. When you're actually experiencing this truth, these words have weight, all right? Brothers say this all the time. This truth is not just about memorizing scriptures. It's about applying these scriptures to your life and experiencing this truth. And the Lord is going to give you those experiences to back up what he's telling you in the scriptures. All right? And a part of that is the brotherhood. And learning how to deal in the brotherhood and learning how to have a conversation with your brethren. All right? Learning how to chop things up, you know? Because that's not seen in our community right now. And that's how we would be known as the disciples of Yahushua if we have that kind of love one to another. All right? So with that, you know, brothers, continue to be sharp. Continue to sharpen brethren. You know, continue to think upon the grace and the mercy that the Lord has bestowed upon us by allowing Yahushua to come into our life, man. You know, by allowing his name to be put in us, the Lord has showed us great favor and mercy. Every day we wake up and we still got this truth, it's a W. Every time. Every time, man. Every day you wake up, no matter what you're going through, every day you wake up and you still got this truth, or you can call a brother, or you can text a brother, or you can hit brother on the WhatsApp. Ain't no bad days for you, man. It's all W's. We on the road to victory, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahushua. Don't quit now. Let's do this. Like I said before, I mean that, man. And I'm starting to meditate on it more and more. You're around some of the greatest spirits that's ever been created. You're around some of the greatest spirits that the Lord has ever created. The first fruits of the spirit, man. That means the Lord is refining us. We're not perfect. But at the same time, the Lord is calling his chosen. So that means if you're amongst the flock, that means you're chosen amongst chosen. That means you're, Lord willing, we endure to the end, but you're around great men, you know? So through the spirit and power of Yahushua, I want to give, again, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahushua. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah, and a sincere salutation to all you Aki, who are preaching this word and believing this word in all truth and sincerity. All right, Yahushua, Bashim Rakakadash Brakatham. Shalom.